Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. A WWE star had a heated exchange with Ava backstage on NXT this week. His actions may have some consequences down the line. Ever since Trick Williams lost his strap match to Eddie Thorpe at NXT Vengeance Day, he has not been in the best mood. He has been upset trying to get a rematch. He even snapped at Javon Evans last week, which was uncharacteristic of the former NXT champion. Tonight on the Black and Silver brand, Trick Williams was backstage with Ava demanding a match against Eddie Thorpe. The NXT GM didn't seem interested in granting the match. They were interrupted by Uriah Connors and Cale Dixon, who brought some presents for Ava to put in her new office. However, Trick told them that now was not the time and asked them to come back later. Cale asked the former NXT champion to calm down and they tried to hand the gift to the GM, but Trick asked them to come back later again. He also told them to go back to Andre Chase. Cale then blamed Trick for why Chase U was no more, since Andre Chase put the faction on the line to earn a title shot against Trick. This upset Williams, who shoved Dixon against the wall and told him he would find out why he was not playing tonight. It will be interesting to see whether Trick Williams gets a rematch against Eddie Thorpe soon. The WWE locker room, always a hotbed of tension, rivalry, and intense personalities, was buzzing that night. The air was thick with anticipation for the evening SmackDown event, but no one in the back could have anticipated the storm that was about to erupt backstage. The WWE Universe had witnessed its fair share of backstage drama, but what was unfolding in the shadows of the arena was unlike anything they had seen before. The normally composed and professional world of WWE was about to be rocked by a fiery altercation between one of the top stars in the company and one of the most promising new talents on the roster. Ava, a rising star who had made waves with her sharp in-ring skills and electrifying personality, had been slowly climbing the ranks since her debut. Known for her intense passion and unrelenting drive, she quickly became a fan favorite. However, it was her fiery temper and no-nonsense attitude that sometimes led to clashes with fellow superstars, especially veterans who had been around for much longer. On the other hand, the WWE star at the center of the confrontation was a seasoned veteran, Jax the Titan Matthews, a man who had held multiple championships and ruled the ring with an iron fist for the better part of a decade. With a career built on dominance and respect, Matthews had earned his place as one of the top stars in WWE history. But with that level of success came a hefty ego, and that ego was about to be put to the test. The spark that ignited the fire. It all began hours before the show was set to air. Ava was in her locker room, going over her match plans with her trainer, preparing herself mentally for the battle ahead. Despite the excitement of competing on one of WWE's biggest stages, Ava was more focused on improving her craft and showcasing her abilities. But when the door to her locker room suddenly swung open, she wasn't expecting to see the hulking figure of Jax Matthews standing in the doorway. "Hey, kid, got a minute?" Matthews' voice was low and gruff, but there was a slight edge to it, an unmistakable hint of arrogance. Ava, already slightly irritated by the disruption, gave him a curt nod. "Sure, Jax. What's up?" Matthews stepped into the room, towering over her as he crossed his arms. His eyes scanned the space, taking in the modest surroundings of her locker area. "I've been watching your matches, kid. You've got potential, I'll give you that," he started, his tone somewhat condescending. "But you're not there yet. Not by a long shot." Ava's eyes narrowed, her patience beginning to wear thin. "I don't need advice from you, Jax. I've been working hard. I know what I'm doing." Matthews scoffed, his confidence bordering on arrogance. "Oh, I think you do. But let me tell you something, sweetheart. You can't just rely on fancy moves and that flashy persona. You need respect. You need to learn how to command a room. Command the ring. Right now, you don't have that." The word stung more than Ava cared to admit, and her body language shifted from casual to defensive. "I don't need to command respect from anyone. I'd earn it with every match. If you think I'm not capable, then maybe you should keep your opinions to yourself." Matthews leaned in slightly, his face only inches from hers. That's the problem with your generation. You think you're entitled to everything. You think just because you're here, you're already at the top. You've got a lot to learn, kid. Ava took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. She had faced this kind of criticism before, but from someone of Matthew's stature, it felt personal. You think you know everything, huh? She said through gritted teeth. I've been busting my ass to get here, and I'll keep doing it, with or without your approval. Matthews smirked, a devilish glint in his eyes. We'll see how long that attitude gets you in this business, Ava. One day, you'll realize you can't keep pushing back against the big dogs. You'll fall, and no one will be there to catch you. The tension in the room was palpable. Ava's jaw clenched, and her fists tightened at her sides. You don't scare me, she muttered, her voice low but firm. Matthews leaned in further, his face now mere inches from hers. You should be scared. I'm not some rookie. I've got years of experience, and I've seen it all. You're playing with fire, kid. Ava, now shaking with anger, stood her ground. I'm not afraid of you, Jax. You can keep your condescending attitude and your big dog talk. It doesn't intimidate me. I've fought harder opponents, and I've come out on top every single time. Before Matthews could respond, Ava turned her back to him and started gathering her things. If that's all you have to say, then I've got a match to get ready for. The confrontation escalates. That was just the beginning of what would quickly escalate into one of the most heated backstage confrontations WWE had seen in years. As the night wore on, tensions continued to mount. Ava's match was coming up soon, and she was doing everything she could to focus. But she couldn't shake the encounter with Matthews from her mind. The words he had said echoed in her head, and she was determined to prove him wrong. Matthews, on the other hand, wasn't done. He was watching the proceedings from afar, still seething from his earlier encounter with Ava. He believed she was nothing more than a flash in the pan, a rookie who had yet to prove herself in the ruthless world of WWE. When the match finally began, Ava entered the ring with a fierce look of determination. Her opponent was a skilled competitor in their own right, but Ava was on another level that night. The energy in the arena was electric as she delivered high-impact moves and breathtaking spots, showcasing just why she had earned her place in the WWE spotlight. But backstage, Matthews was watching, waiting for the right moment to strike. As Ava made her way back to the locker room after her victory, a smile of satisfaction on her face, she was unaware that Matthews was waiting in the shadows. The moment she passed the corner, Matthews stepped out and blocked her path. So how was that match, kid? He said, a sneer tugging at his lips. Ava, who was already feeling the weight of his earlier words, didn't even flinch. Don't talk to me, Jax. Not now. But Matthews wasn't backing down. You think that performance was enough? You think that's going to get you ahead in this business? He stepped closer, his towering frame now fully imposing. Ava, who had tried to walk past him, stopped in her tracks. You have no idea what it takes to be great, she hissed. You're stuck in the past, trying to play games with me. I'm done listening to your nonsense. The confrontation was no longer a war of words. It was about to become physical. Matthews reached out and grabbed Ava's arm, his grip firm and unrelenting. You think you can just walk around here acting like you own the place? Like you're untouchable? I'll teach you a lesson you won't forget. Ava's temper, which had been simmering for days, finally erupted. With one swift motion, she jerked her arm free, shoving Matthews backward. You're not the boss here, Jax. You may be a veteran, but you're not untouchable. Before Matthews could react, Ava took a step forward, her eyes blazing with fury. You're right about one thing. You don't scare me. And now you've made a big mistake. The two stood face to face, tension crackling in the air. The locker room had fallen eerily silent as the confrontation between the two stars seemed inevitable. The question now was, would WWE officials be able to prevent this from going any further, or would the rivalry explode into a full-blown backstage brawl? The consequences. In the aftermath of the altercation, WWE management was forced to step in and address the situation. Both Ava and Matthews were pulled aside for individual meetings with higher-ups, including Vince McMahon himself. While Ava had a fiery temper, her actions were largely seen as self-defense, an attempt to stand up for herself in the face of an overbearing veteran. Matthews, however, was not immune to consequences. His actions were viewed as an abuse of power, attempting to intimidate a younger talent, a behavior WWE simply couldn't tolerate. The repercussions were swift and severe. Matthews was temporarily suspended from TV appearances while WWE investigated the incident. His actions were scrutinized, and he faced the possibility of being fined or even being given a more permanent suspension if the situation worsened. He had crossed a line, and now he was going to pay the price for it. Ava, on the other hand, was not punished. WWE officials acknowledged that she had every right to defend herself, though they did remind her that such confrontations were best avoided in the future. The company was firmly behind her, acknowledging her professionalism despite the heated emotions involved. But while the official statement from WWE made it clear that both parties were to be held accountable, the underlying tension between the two superstars was far from over. The locker room would be watching, waiting to see how this situation played out. Would Ava continue her rise to the top, or would Matthews return with a vengeance? Only time would tell. But one thing was certain, their paths were destined to cross again. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our WWE official YouTube channel for more update news.